Hey, welcome back. Today I made Cosmic Brownies, but there's weed in it. This one might be my favorite recipe we've done so far. I'm not really a huge fan of regular Cosmic Brownies, but this version is so fucking dank. Seriously. So I'm so excited today to show you how I made 8 Cosmic Brownies with about 60 milligrams each. I started off by weighing out my weed. I'm going for about 480 milligrams total. Then I break my weed into slightly smaller pieces. I don't like to grind it because the weed flavor comes through a lot more in the butter if you do. Then I bake that at 240 degrees for about 35 minutes and start melting down my butter. I'm adding half a cup of water and 1/4 cup of butter to a saucepan. I'm going to melt that on a low heat until it is sitting at a stable temperature around 185 to 200 degrees. Then I add in my decarbed weed and cook that for about 2.5 to 3 hours, stirring every 30 minutes or so and checking regularly to make sure we're staying in that 185 to 200 degree range. When it's finished cooking, I strain out the weed. You can already see that layer of butter starting to form on top, but I put a lid on it and stick it in the fridge to help that solidify a little quicker. When it is solidified, I cut it with a knife and just pull the pieces of butter off of the water. I always weigh the butter at the end to see exactly how much I need to add for my recipe. I need 7 tablespoons total for this one. This recipe calls for melted butter, so I'm using a double boiler to heat that up until it is nice and melted. Then I'll add in my other ingredients, starting with 3/4 cup of brown sugar and just mixing that until it is really well combined. Next, I'll add 1 egg and an additional egg yolk, along with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and again, I'm just mixing that really well. Next, we'll add in our dry ingredients, so I'm grabbing a sifter because I want to make sure no lumps get in, and I'm adding half a cup of flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, and just a pinch of salt. Then I'll sift that and throw away any of the lumps that are left at the end. Then we'll mix that really well until there are no more lumps of flour or cocoa powder in the batter. I'm pouring this into an 8 by 8 inch baking pan that I have lined with parchment paper, then just spreading the batter into the corners and trying to get as even of a layer as possible. Then I'll bake that at 350 for about 18 to 20 minutes. I check it with a toothpick just to make sure the center is fully baked, and then we'll start working on our ganache for the top. So on a double boiler, I'm adding half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips and 2.5 tablespoons of heavy cream, and I'll just whisk that together over the heat until it is nice and smooth and there's no chocolate lumps left. Then I'll just pour that on top of the brownies and use my spatula to kind of spread it into the corners and get a good thin layer on top of the whole thing. I'm then going to leave it out for about 20 or 30 minutes to let that ganache stiffen up on top. Once that has set, we'll take it out of the pan, so I'm just using a knife to loosen the edge that is not lined, and then you can just really easily grab the parchment paper and just lift it out of the pan. Then I cut this. Measuring is optional, but we're going for 8 roughly even rectangles, and Cosmic Brownies are 2 squares that make up the rectangle. So for the last one, we are just going to kind of score the icing into those squares, but not cut all the way through, just kind of make a dent in the icing. Hey, me again. I just wanted to quickly interject because I'm about to start decorating them in the video, and you're probably going to notice that I'm using mini M&Ms. I could not find these sprinkles. They're so hard to come by. I was going to order them. They weren't going to get here in time. No store near me had them. So I was like, well, whatever. Mini M&Ms are basically the same thing. Shot the whole video with mini M&Ms. Go to the grocery store the next day, and they have the audacity to suddenly stock the right thing. So I grabbed them and made another batch because I wanted the pictures to be kind of like as close to Cosmic Brownies as they could. But use what you have. I just kind of wanted to explain why the video isn't really matching the final product because I made 2 batches. Maybe I'm very extra. I don't know. Sorry. And we're back, and we are decorating with whatever sprinkles we have available. You do have to kind of press them in with your fingers since the ganache is a little bit stiff, but it's not too hard. And once you are finished decorating, we are good to go. You can eat those as is. You can also be really crazy and make another batch when you find the right sprinkles. Whatever you want to do your thing. Like I said, these should be about 60 milligrams each, but with homemade edibles it is hard to tell, so just eat half if you need to, and remember it can take 2 to 3 hours for edibles to fully kick in. If you try making these at home, I would love to see pictures. You can find me on Instagram, and as always, thank y'all so much for watching.